Idiot. क्या है यार? These guys have no life in them. I'm telling you guys something, you'll have absolutely no reaction. Okay. I guess I'm done over here. Thanks, guys.
ईशा, I think तुम इन दोनों को अपना चैलेंज क्यों नहीं दिखा देती?
There's not one word coming out of their mouth.
Actually, the thing is that we don't want to talk with you. Actually, that's
Why
the
don't
thing.
you go and fuck off then?
You go. How can you slap? How can you slap?
Mad or what, bloody?
How can she slap? How can she slap me?
How can you slap me? Fucker! Bastard! Bloody bastard!
How can she slap me?
You bastard! How did you enter? I'll fuck your face right now! You fucking bastard! I'll fucking kiss bastard! Are you kidding? Mother chok bancho chik.
How can she slap me, sir? How can she slap me? How can she slap me?
तेरी मैं गान मारता हूँ अभी बहन के लोड़े मार बहन चुप
How can she slap? Shit. How can she slap me? Shit. What I was trying to illustrate, man, is just the power of simps. Jeez. How can she slap? But anyway, welcome to another Tuesday evening Falcon Blizzak live stream, man. Salute to everyone in the building. You could be anywhere else in the world, but you've chosen to be here, so I'm very thankful for that. Salute to everyone in the building. Please press a 1 if the sound is good. Customary mic check. If you can please hit a 1 if the sound is good. It is a calm Tuesday evening. And I believe this is a topic that we really must get to the nitty-gritty of. I see the ones. I see the ones. Salute to everyone in the building. I'm going to get to you in a sec, okay? I see the ones. Appreciate all of you. Okay? So this live stream, basically, many brothers often state a disparity when using dating apps in the UK. Dating apps such as Tinder, Hinge, Bumble, etc. You know, they claim that online matches doesn't really seem to reflect in real life matches, right? In real life suitors or expectations. So in this stream, we're going to go over some facts and figures. Okay, this is going to be a pretty heavily laden opener with regards to a few facts and articles that I need to read out that I think is very important, very interesting. And then we're also going to, of course, open up the streamlines and try to get to the nitty gritty of this reason. So I appreciate it's late. I've had to delay the start time for a bit. I apologize for that. I'm going to neaten up my streams pretty shortly, but hopefully people can come on and we can discuss this matter, okay? So a few customary things. If you want to show support, you know, if you like my stuff, if you like my talking points, the topics, the community that we have, just all you have to do is like the stream. And if you can go even further, share the stream. And if you are able to, you can hit the super chat to show your support. If you want to join the Discord, aka Self-Refinement City, the links are in the description of the video, as are other bits of information as well. So check out the description if you want to learn more. Anyone who super chats, obviously you're going to be in the first post underneath this video. Yeah, so like I said, the beginning is going to be pretty stat laden. So if you're on the replay, feel free to hit the ×2 ×1.7 speed so you can, you know, kind of travel through this in a salient manner. Okay. But hey, how's everyone doing, man? How's everyone doing tonight, man? I appreciate the first super chat of the night, man. Ifechi Michael, I really appreciate you, bro. He comes through with the £1 super chat, showing love straight up. No point of discussion. I really appreciate that, bro. Salute to you. And I think it was Ifechi Michael's. This topic is probably courtesy to him and me myself having a discussion in the Self-Refinement City. So appreciate you, Ifechi Michael. Good to have you in the building. Salute to you. We've also got Mystique in the building. Salute to you. She says bonsoir, and she likes the music. Salute. We've got Diego Harry, aka Diego Iffen. Salute. Good to see you. He says yo. to see you, bro. No sound? Jesus Christ. Blood clot. No sound? Is it back? Jesus Christ, man. It's going to be one of those nights, man. So I'm going to breeze through a lot of the stuff. No sound? No sound? You got the sound? Okay, you're saying it's back. Okay, appreciate everyone in the building, man. People in the shadows came out. People in the clouds came out to say no sound. I appreciate that. I ain't seen Dream Pop Wave before. I ain't seen Ebony S before. But I appreciate you for telling me what's up. I appreciate that. Salute to everyone in the building. Okay. And I can select the comments now. Okay, so this is basically the gist of tonight's show, man. We want to understand why it seems that Black British men are struggling with dating apps, right? Particularly the most popular ones, Tinder, etc. All right. Salute to you, Dream Pop Wave. He says, I'm new to the channel. Good to have you on board. Good to have you, bro. Just to get an understanding, like press a 1 if you currently use a dating app. Hit a 1 if you want to declare that you currently use a dating app. If you've got the app installed on your phone, let's see what you're saying. Let's see if it's relevant to you. Okay, no one's yet. Okay, that's cool. We will let you consider that. But I'm gonna just quickly briefly state my personal experience with the dating app. So I don't use any dating app. Okay. Why is that? I believe it lowers the self-esteem. Okay, and I've recognized that whenever I had the opportunity to do that. So typically back in the day, and I'm talking about how many years ago now was I using the app when I was in that position? Probably about 5-6 years ago, where I would have the app, and have it for a few days, probably 3-4 days max, and then I'll delete it because I just found it to be so unnatural. It's just I'm not used to it. I guess when all these apps were popping, I was in relationship, right? So I've never been engrossed in those apps. So it was super strange for me, and I just basically rejected it, right? So yeah, that's the first thing I identified, is that my self-esteem just felt hit. There's a curiosity, right? When it's like, because of fear of missing out, you might just wake up, then you're swiping and that nonsense, right? Or it might be the last thing you're doing before you go to bed. It's just another opportunity for a dopamine hit, right? A dopamine hit, and of course, another reason why I'm not currently using the app is because I already have a mate. I already have a pairing mate who I'm rather fond of. So I'm not in the position, and when I was in the position, I just wasn't feeling it. It felt super unnatural. Didn't feel right. And yes, I agree that also in the apps, usually the results, the matches are usually below what you expect in real life. That was my experience as a Black British man. Did I have success on Tinder? Yeah, sure. But I found that in the UK, the turnout again is below what you expect in real life, or below what you're used to. I remember there being a lot of kind of weirdos. And when I say weirdos, just, like people that you won't normally bump into, people doing crazy things as a profession, for example. There's obviously loads of older women, which isn't a bad thing if you're an older man, I guess. But, when you're of a certain age, it might put you at a certain disadvantage. But I found the best strategy, and I'm not trying to do some Falcon dating show stuff. This is very brief. The best strategy was going abroad. I found that when you go abroad and you're in the position, you're looking, install the app, it's a much more positive affair, right? Because it's like you're foreign, you're new to the ecosystem, and I think that gives you a lot of bonus points, right? But ultimately, I just find dating apps to be a waste of time. Most of us are not always on the move. Most of us are not always traveling, right? So for those of us who are in the country, I find it's a waste of time. It will dent self-esteem. The best solution is to be outgoing, right? And I always have said this, particularly introverts, to be outgoing, go somewhere new every weekend, right? A very classic video that I made. I'm gonna go back to some outdoor videos as well, so you can see the world. I like doing stuff in the world, right? But most importantly, when you go out in the real world, and I know it's not that easy, of course, for so many people, but you bypass all of the texting and all of the sending pictures. That weird phase where it's very likely that someone, usually the woman, loses interest, right? So you're going to go into those weird situations where you are in the middle of a conversation, and then it just disperses, right? It just ends abruptly. That was actually a meme that I used for one of my thumbnails back in the day with Mr. Bean, just looking at the phone like, what? A lot of people wake up with that happening and they're like, what? It's just not a great place for your self-esteem, in my opinion, particularly as a black British man, black man in general. Probably pertains to black women too, to be honest. And we'll go deeper into that. I've got a few stats that we need to get through, okay? Namely, of those stats, are algorithms racially biased? We want to go through the top 10 UK dating stats as well. We want to see other people's experiences who claim that at least half black British people deal with racism on dates. There's a Cupid stat list, which is very heavily laden with stats. We want to go through that. And we're going to start off with if Tinder likes are racially prejudiced. Okay, so again, pretty top heavy stream. But if you did want to come on, I've got the links pinned to the top of the chat and in the description. I think the aim of this show should be to share experiences, good and bad, and what you feel or think is the reason why it seems a lot of people are struggling in the UK when it comes to dating apps, particularly. Okay, so again, yeah, that's my brief experiences with the app. The caliber of people usually subpar to my real world experiences. I'm not saying that to sound like I'm some celebrity. Obviously, I'm not. Right. But for example, my girlfriend met in the real world. Okay. Most other people from the past met in the real world. And I think that these dating apps just become a crutch for people who, some people say, okay, use dating apps as a secondary tool, something that is supporting you on the side, right? And maybe I guess during the pandemic, but I just think that it ends up not working, and that's really just that's just an excuse to just to like a fear of missing out tactic. Do you know what I mean? Because if, from my experience personally, if the caliber on the dating apps are lowered, it's just what's the point? I don't know about you guys, but I've never wanted to deal with people in a relationship or whatever capacity that I felt were not quote unquote on my level. So I just feel like that strategy of having it on the side and just, you never know, guys, you never know. I think it's just a waste of time. I think it doesn't work like that. So actually, where I've met, like, again, going out, right? Going out boosts the confidence. Where I've met my partner actually was outside. It was actually me going alone to bars. You know what I mean? And that going alone thing is something that I profess because it takes a bit of courage. You're gonna put yourself in situations where you have to step up, you have to be able to talk. But ultimately, man, it's not, what I try to embrace is the idea of going out for for enjoyment. I think that's the most attractive thing from my personal experience. When I go out, especially in those occasions when I wanted to go out alone, I'm just thinking of, oh yes, they're gonna play some nice 90s old school hip hop in my favorite joint. That for me back then, those years ago, that was just a nice vibe. And anything that came off of that was secondary, right? So I think all those types of experiences, if you just rely on apps, especially the younger guys who grow up through apps, it's just like you're not being able to massage that social muscle, which I think at the end of the day, again, you're gonna have to go through one way or the other. When you get through all the nonsense with the messages and the sharing pics and all of that, you're gonna have to meet in person, right, and do all of that. So that's just my general opinion on the apps. We're gonna talk about if the Tinder likes are racially prejudiced, okay? But before I go through that, let me quickly see what you're saying in the chat, just so I don't keep you hanging. It might take a while before we get the link in. Sharian says nope, don't use any dating apps. Matt Gamer says yep, he does use dating apps. Moonshine99 says nah, I'm old school. I hear that. Manchester Blue in the building. Salute. It says sometimes your area depends what you get. If you live in Cheshire or Lancashire, as a black man using dating apps, you will fail. I know from experience. Hey, I don't doubt that. I know some of you guys, you often say to me, hey, Falcon, man, you live in London, so therefore, our experiences will be different. And I absolutely agree to that. I absolutely understand that. And obviously that's going to be true, right? So I guess that's part of the issues, right? It's the location, right? Again, being an ethnic minority, you might not be the most desired. Unfortunately, it just is what it is. Frame says, plus there are a lot of bots in those apps. Yep, a lot of trickery, a lot of fraudulent behaviors in the apps as well. Matt Gaming says, you sound like a passport bro. Absolutely not. Why is a passport bro? Why a black guy that just travels, why is he automatically called a passport bro? No, bro, I'm not a passport. I was never a passport bro for traveling. I just traveled. Online account in the building. He says a non-white person will have harder time on Tinder. White men have a lot of success, even if they are not attractive. Oh, well, we've got stats that will showcase different ethnicities and the different success rates. So hold your hats for that one. Okay. Jesse in the building says Tinder's like being in an all-you-can-eat buffet. Too much choice for them. Yeah. What's that dilemma where there's too much choice but nothing gets picked because of an overwhelming selection? That's a real thing as well. You just think, nah, let me just wait for the best one. And the trickery of these apps where they're just trying to pull you in all the time. And that's what I mean with the self-esteem and the mentality, man. A lot of these apps are just a plague on the mind. But okay, let's go through the first article to read, okay? It's going to be one of those reading sessions because just share a screen. One sec, guys. One sec. So we've got a lot to go through, but let's start with this. Let's see. Let me remove this ad. Let me zoom in a little bit more. And as I do this, man, haven't there been a lot of drama going on in these YouTube streets these days? God damn, man, I was about to do a totally different stream. But I wanted to stay on quote unquote code and do my, do what I'm good at, do what I usually do. Okay. So this is from Metro. Tinder likes racially prejudiced. Yes, obviously. This is by someone called Miranda Larby. Looking at this picture, she looks quote unquote ethnic. So take that for a pinch. Take that for whatever it means. And it's a 2017 app. Okay, so some time ago. Any person of color who has used Tinder will tell you that there's a bias on the platform. Black and mixed women in particular get fewer likes than white women. According to a 2014 study by OkCupid, that study we're going to go through next. Okay, we're going to go through. It's a very big and in-depth study with a load of different stats. Some of them might even actually be solutions to some issues, because it talks about things like the best cameras for pictures, etc., etc. If you are a person who relies on dating apps, okay. But let's continue. 82% of their non-black male users show bias against black women, while Asian men's dating profiles are consistently rated the lowest by single women on the site. We find certain races attractive or matchable. Maybe that's just natural. #bars. And of course, it's not something that's exclusively occurs online. Okay, last month, Channel 4 showed The Dating Game, a program that explored racism in dating. Who knows about The Dating Game? Like I say, man, I don't watch TV, don't have no time for TV. Jesus Christ, man, what is this article really about? And people lost their mind, people lost their heads when it turned out that loads of us have very real racial prejudices when it comes to choosing a partner. One white woman even went so far as to say that she didn't want to date a black guy because his nose was flaring. Uh-oh. Okay, so a white woman said she doesn't want to date a black guy because his nose was flaring. Okay, a quick poll. Press a 1 if that is reasonable. Press a 2 if that is bad. If that is, that's not good, that's unfair, that's racist. This white woman, she might have a preference for a smaller nose guy. But of course, many people in our racial category, usually tend to have wider noses. So is it fair that this white woman has a preference for not having a big nose? Ifechi, man, why are you laughing? It's funny because the dating game is funny, especially without when you're a black person in a predominantly white country. When I know some younger people are a bit more frustrated because they really want that experience, but you need to see the funny side of these things, man. Corvus Glegg says, sounds fair to me. Online account says bad. Diego says 1. Dream Pop Wave says it's bad. Ephraim says it's bad. Ebony says it's bad. Matt Gamer says, nah, it's fair. St. Cloud says people should have their preferences. Okay. Let's continue. But as I say, for many people of color, exoticism and prejudice is something we've been aware of since we began our dating escapades as teenagers. I, for example, know that white guys rarely find me attractive. So I believe she looks mixed or Asian, the person writing the article. At least at the beginning. The ones I've dated are people I've known for some time beforehand. They've gotten to know my personality. I doubt we'd hook up in a bar if we met randomly. That's a sound point, because there were many articles when I was doing my kind of research. Obviously, most of looks matter, like a lot of our black pill brothers will say. And it's like, it's a matter of a few seconds. As I'm sure a lot of you people use the app know, you're going to swipe. Sometimes you're just in a frenzy, swiping left, swiping left, swiping left. Sometimes you might swipe left by mistake, right? And of course, the apps make this a super overwhelming fact that you make a lot of judgments very quickly, right? So this woman is saying, I conducted my own experiment on Tinder and Bumble to see if that they're really bore true online. Okay, for a week, she only swiped right for preppy-looking white men who she found attractive and felt pretty sure wouldn't give me a second look. Okay, the next week, speaking about this woman, I only swiped right for the black guys. So who I also found attractive, but who I felt would definitely swipe right for me. That's bold. And I wish, and I was completely right both times. Okay, so she's doing an experiment, swiping on the white guys who she felt won't find her attractive, and also swiping on the black guys who she thought will find her attractive. Okay, sidestepping that picture over there. Almost none of the white guys matched with me, and a huge proportion of the black men did. You can't outdate your type, apparently, at least not purely from an aesthetic point of view. And that theory has been corroborated by the study of attraction, a live experiment looking to explore how ethnic discrimination affects attractiveness. Okay, so that we get the gist. Jesus, we understand. There's a lot of nuance in this area, in this field. Oops. Okay, so let's go into the OkCupid stats. Okay, I'm sure many of you have seen it before because I think it's a quite old stat. It's just a bunching of a lot of stats that they've gathered from the dating apps. Okay. Dream Pop Wave is giving people game in the chat. He says, change up your profile picture, tie, blazer, and slacks. Believe it makes a huge difference. Oh, wait, I believe there's a stat that talks about that actually. It actually goes as far as to talk about cameras. Okay. So this is the study that was referenced in the article previously. Let me zoom in a little bit more. No, this one. Okay, let's see if that's good. So, OkCupid's data set proves dating is the worst. In the time of lockdown, modern dating has come to rely heavily on dating apps to forge new connections. The advent of Zoom dates has made dating accessible from the comfort of your bedroom without requiring the additional steps of checking if your breath smells bad or telling your friends when you'll be home on the off chance that your date ends up being a serial killer. That's funny. With a variety of apps to choose from, the options for dates are endless and overwhelming. Too many potential connections turn into a reciprocated message and the voice in the back of your head saying, is this worth the effort? As a clinical physician, I spent countless hours every day analyzing data to derive correlations that drive my medical practice. By looking at the logical connections between variables, I can make an informed decision and become more efficient with my time. Perhaps the same approach can be said for dating. Thankfully, OkCupid has done most of the work for us. Okay. The OkCupid dating interface allows the participants to answer questions about themselves. Looking at the data allows us to see how people view traditional gender roles and how racial preferences comes into play. Okay. So let's go through this and let's see. Let me just, let me give you guys some background music so you don't feel a bit into feel. Okay. I'm looking for mostly the racially kind of appealing statistics, but let's quickly go through some of them that catch the eye. So gender, when looking at the numbers, women have an advantage compared to men. For every one woman on the website, there were 1.5 men, leading to many more options for women compared to men. Okay, this is something that a lot of men often cite as well, right? There's a whole load of women, many options, they can't fail. So they asked the question, it's your first date. Do you split the bill, pay the whole bill, have them pay the whole bill? Okay. Blue for men, orange for women. Splitting the bill, most women agree to that. Paying the whole bill, most men agree to that. Have them pay, most women will say that. It doesn't matter, most women apparently agree to that. Is that cap? Okay, this is probably another interesting stat. First messages sent by gender and orientation. Well, let's just go by gender. Okay, so blue, again, men, orange, women. First message usually sent by men. Okay, I think that's a no-brainer. Okay, so, okay, let's go to race. Okay, so how does someone's ethnic group come into play? In a now deleted analysis of the OkCupid data, okay, something's been deleted, it might have been controversial. The role of racial identity was used to quantify attraction. Members were asked to report the racial group they associated with, as well as racial preference. When asked about racial preference, more than 40% of people in 2008 reported a strong desire to date someone of their own race. Okay? 40%. When trended over 7 years, fewer people seem to hold that view, as only 30% of people showed a strong preference to date within their race in 2014. More recent data will need to be analyzed to determine whether the trend continued. Okay, so again, almost a 10-year-old collation, so we have to kind of bear with it. Okay, so a few questions were asked. Do you strongly prefer to date someone of your own race? As that statement said, that trend is going down since 2014. Would you date someone with a vocal racial bias? A vocal racial bias. So someone who said that they have a preference. Okay, that trend is going on the up. Is interracial marriage a bad idea? Well, it decreased around 2010, but it seems to be, going afloat. Right? I'm hoping you can see that graph quite a bit. In fact, if you want to follow along, let me just post this link. I posted this link to this article, to these stats in the chat. Okay. So this is the most interesting part. Okay. So let me zoom in for this one. And I think shout out to Ifechi Michael, because I think he led me to these stats. So shout out to you, bro. Let's zoom in a little bit more. Okay. So when separating the data by racial groups' attitudes towards one another, we can see that bias plays a heavy role in who will be messaged and people's perceptions. Looking at the data, all groups of women, when separated by self-reported race, tend to show a preference towards men of the same race. However, the opposite is not true. So, okay, let's go over that again. All groups of women, when separated by self-reported race, tend to show a preference towards men of the same race. The opposite is not true. So men don't necessarily prefer, quote unquote, their own race. Black men and black women encounter additional hurdles as the most negative bias are shown towards them. So we've got a little chart. Okay. Sure you can see this. So when it comes to men rating women, okay, we've got various ethnic groups, and again, unfortunately, seems to be a US-based study, right? We've got a few UK-based articles, but we do need to we can use this to some extent. So Asian men, very likely to pick Asian women, strongly unlikely to pick black women, have a fair chance of picking Latino women, and a better chance of picking white women. Okay. When it came to black men rating women, a fairly okay chance of picking Asian women. But when it comes to black women, funny enough, a lower rate of picking black women, it seems. Okay, at 1%. And then Latino women, just like the Asian women, fairly high. But when it came to white women, that you know, less likely to swipe or to match with white women. Okay. Latino men are not really that relevant for the UK. So let's go to white men and see what's going on over there. So when it comes to white women, like that article said, you know, it wasn't as favorable as the Asian women. Okay, so now let me just check in the chat. Is my screen share kind of broken? Try to spin up a little bit. Just press a wall. Sound is you know, I don't know what the hell is going on, but there's some technical difficulties. Apologies for that. Does it sound good? I think I need to fix a few fuses, man, because something's happening. Does it sound good? Okay, appreciate it. Apologies for that. Apologies for that. Let's go back to where we were. Where were we? Where were we? Okay, so back to OK Cupid. Okay, appreciate you guys. Appreciate the heads up. Appreciate that. Okay, so it cut out the best part. So this is women rating men, right? So this is what we really wanted to know, or we really would like to know, right? So let me zoom in a bit more. So women rating men, Asian women rating Asian men very favorably. So like that previous paragraph said, usually women rate women of men of the same ethnicity, the same quote unquote race, in a favorable manner. So Asian women rate Asian men more, and black men absolutely not. You know, so a lot of left swipes, and Latino men following suit, and white men seen much more favorable, but second to Asian men. Okay, when it came to black women, so again, this is a US statistic. Okay, so keep that in mind. Black women rated Asian men very lowly. When it came to black men, rated them the highest. Okay, so in this category, black men were favoring black women. Sorry, were favoring black men. But when it came to Latino men, that's in the negative. When it came to white men, also very low in terms of quote unquote choosing signals. Okay. And again, we will omit the Latino women, but let's go to white women. When it came to choosing Asian men, again, very lowly. Black men, lower than them. Or not lower than them, a bit more preferable, but still low. When it came to Latino men, slightly favorable. But when it came to white men, the most favorable. Okay. So very interesting stat. Again, I posted this stat into the chat. But yeah, that is interesting. But again, it's very hard to find the stats, especially pertaining to the UK. But I think they're hiding it, man, because it's probably controversial. It's probably not as woke as they would like it to be. Because, you know, when I open up the links and we talk about our experiences, you know, it's going to sound, I think, rather negative. So yeah, the funny thing about these stats is that it also shows the cameras, the pictures that came from certain camera makes and how favorable they were to showing your attractiveness, which is bizarre. You know, so it seems like a Panasonic camera will be most successful. You know, got Canon up there. Where's my boy Sony ZV-E10? Is that up there? Nope. Apple iPhone is down there somewhere. All the phones are down there. So basically it's saying use a proper camera to take your pictures. So like someone was saying in the chat, appearances. Right? The worst cameras, Motorola phone, Windows phone, BlackBerry phone, Nokia phone, Android phone. So yeah, really check out these stats. This is another quirky stat. Write a meaningful first message. Now that you have attained a right swipe with your high quality photo taken without a flash at golden hour, they're really trying to get you into this. It is time for the first message. If you would like to take the safe route, send a message, how is it going, instead of hi, to triple the change of a reply. Okay? So it tells you what messages are more successful. So how is it going? Seems to be what works. See, you guys, man, it helps to do research, right? And, this is a great point, because it's like when we talk about the YouTubers who complain about, oh, I'm not getting the views, I'm not getting this and that. But if you don't read about the business, you don't read about what you need to do, then it's going to be like that. Right? So like this type of stuff I think it's good stuff. You need to research, you need to study, you need to understand if you rely on the dating apps, I think it's interesting. So how's it going is up there. What's up? Another favorite. Howdy, again, Americans. Another favorite. Hola for the Spanish. Yo for the brothers. But hi, hey, hello doesn't seem to be doing good. And also it seems like online speak doesn't seem to be doing good. So not using proper vocabulary. So yeah, we unfortunately don't have the time to go through everything, or that was most things, but I think the most important part was the ethnicity part. Okay, so I'm going to open up the panel in a sec. I just want to get more information up there. I know, I appreciate that it's taking some time, okay, but I appreciate you still in the building. Let me see what you're saying in the building. Jesse saying Asian as in East Asian or South Asian. I believe they mean East Asian. I believe they meant East Asian. Yeah, exactly. And they were probably white Latino. So it showcases that, I guess, the image is crucial, right? I'm guessing that a white Latino will look very similar to a white person, a white American, Okay, so what's next on the docket? Let's go to the half of Black British people experiencing racism on dates. Okay, I think that's important. Half of Black British people in the UK have experienced racism on a date. As a result of these experiences, almost 2/3 of Black British people say that they actively choose to go on dates at Black-owned small businesses. So they're saying these venues showcase some level of racism, okay? These dating venues. With the return to real life dating, singles across the UK are heading back to their go-to spots for first dates. However, today, more than half of Black British people in the UK have experienced racism or racial bias on a date. This prejudice or hostility, which manifests as everything from microaggressions to judgmental looks or comments, feelings of unwelcomeness, or even fetishization, causes 1 in 3 Black people to cancel a date because they are anxious about the venue. This is an interesting point. This isn't, again, it's interesting. It's good to kind of fact check these things, because I never thought about this stuff. Now, naturally, although I'm aware of a few things, I'm, personally, I don't know. I'm not going to say I don't care. I do care, but do I care what some waiter feels? That sounds arrogant, but do I care about some? Nah, not really. Not really. I've actually had much more positive encounters when it comes to these sort of things on a date. Research by Bumble, the women first dating app, shows that across the UK, racial bias is overwhelmingly happening at popular date spots. As a result of these experiences, almost 2/3 of Black British people say that they actively choose to go on dates on, okay, we've read that, Black-owned small businesses. Okay, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Imagine the boy saying they will mess with your food and drink. I mean, I want to ask you, have you experienced that? I mean, obviously it's going to be hard to tell, but I just don't see the point or the reason why anyone would do that. Because obviously if I have a negative experience, I'm not going to come back. So I don't know, man. Based on these findings and in support of Black love stories and the spaces that empower them, Bumble is launching a campaign celebrating Black-owned businesses. Okay, this is talking more about the businesses. Okay, so here's a few percentiles. While on a date, 39% of Black British people say they were made to feel unwelcome. 30% were completely ignored, and 25% experienced direct racism. Okay. More than half of Black British people have experienced racial bias on a date. Almost half of Black British people say they feel more accepted at Black-owned venues, with a third saying they feel safer in these venues. Makes sense? When planning a date, more than half of Black British people will read online reviews before visiting, and more than 1 in 3 will Google the venue owners. That's reasonable. Over a third of Black British people have declined or changed date plans because they were anxious about the venue. That's interesting. Okay, that's an interesting article. I mean, I guess, what do you guys think, man? Have you experienced racism when you're going out to dates, when you're going to like restaurants? I don't know. I can't say I have. But again, I'm speaking as a Londoner. So yeah, like many of you say, London is a whole different place. Probably should really be independent from the UK. Let's go to quickly are the algorithms that power dating apps racially biased? Okay, this is something that a lot of people complain about, even on YouTube. We've had a lot of big YouTubers complain about a racial bias on the internet, like somehow the algorithm might detect certain words, maybe even speech, tonality, slang, and determine whether they will push your stuff or not. If the algorithms powering these matchmaking systems contain pre-existing biases, is the onus on dating apps to counteract them? It's a small world that hides a match. It's a small world that hides a leap of judgments. In the world of online dating, it's a good-looking face that pops out of an algorithm that's been quietly sorting and weighing desire. But these algorithms aren't as neutral as you might think. Like a search engine that parrots the racially prejudiced results back at the society that uses it, a match is tangled up in bias. Where should the line be drawn between preference and prejudice? Like what we were talking about before with that white lady saying, he's nose flares. First, the facts. Racial bias is rife in online dating. Black people, for example, are 10 times more likely to contact white people on dating sites than vice versa. Now, that's an interesting, obvious point, right? Again, we speak about the demographics, 3 to 4%. That's going to be the case. When it comes to looking for jobs, we're going to be approaching white businesses. So naturally, in many cases, and it's quite controversial online, I find, but it's only normal that when it comes to dating opportunities, you're very much likely going to be in a situation where you're around, you're very much around white women. And so, yeah, we have the whole communication about being pro-black and How can you be pro-black in the UK and Europe? You know? Let me quickly salute and shout out my brother O'Shea Duke Jackson in the building, man. O'Shea Duke Jackson in the building, giving us the Ugandan shilling. Salute to you, brother O'Shea. Good to have you in the building. He says, my brother, I love you, man. Keep pushing. I appreciate that, bro. I appreciate that. I know there's a lot of, there's a bit of storm going on, but I really appreciate you. I'm trying to keep neutrality with all the madness that's going. So, just know that you're my bro. So, peace to you, bro. Good to see you in the building. Everyone give a shout out to O'Shea Duke Jackson. How's the opener go again? Hey, guys. What's up, guys? It's your boy, O'Shea. I need to make one of those. I need to make one of those, man. I need a catchy opener. Okay, we've got some people in the back. I'm going to breeze through this article, so feel free to jump on the links I'll pin to the top and in the description on the video if you want to talk about your dating app experiences. I know we've kind of been long-winded and some technical issues, but we're going to streamline this part. Okay. So, yes, racial, we spoke about racial bias. If these are pre-existing biases, is the onus on dating apps to counteract them? They certainly seem to learn from them. In a study published last year, researchers from Cornell University examined racial bias on the 25 highest grossing dating apps in the US. They found race frequently played a role in how matches were found. 19 of the apps requested users input their own race or ethnicity. 11 collected users' preferred ethnicity in a potential partner, and 17 allowed users to filter others by ethnicity. Anyone who uses Tinder or Bumble, can you change by race? Can you select the race that you prefer? Because back in 2017, I don't think you could. The proprietary nature of the algorithms underpinning these apps mean the exact math behind the matches are closely guarded secret. Ooh. For a dating service, the primary concern is making a successful match, whether or not that reflects societal biases. And yet, the way these systems are built can ripple far, influencing who hooks up, in turn affecting the way we think about attractiveness. That's a key point. That's a key point, man. I don't know if you heard that. For a dating service, the primary concern is making a successful match, whether or not that reflects societal biases. And yet the way these systems are built can ripple far, influencing who hooks up, in turn affecting the way we think about attractiveness. Jeez, and that goes to a lot of people. Because again, like I said about the self-esteem, a lot of people use these apps, a lot of black people use these apps, and you end up feeling less attractive. Right? You're matching with people that they don't normally seem like your suitors in real life. Right? So, boy, this is important, man. And this is why I'm someone that will tell you straight up, man, don't use the dating apps. I know people are going to say, oh, it's a good support measure. It's, why not? You can use the free version. Especially using a free version of any app, just know that you're going to get the shafted version, right? A lot of these things are pay to play. Okay, let's quickly breeze through. For those apps that allow users to filter people of a certain race, one person's predilection is another person's discrimination. Don't want to date an Asian man? Untick a box and people that identify within that group are booted from your search pool. Grindr. Okay, I know what this app is. For example, gives users the option to filter by ethnicity. OkCupid similarly lets its users search by ethnicity, as well as a list of other categories from height to education. Should apps allow this? Is it a realistic reflection of what we do internally when we scan a bar? This is interesting, man. This is interesting. Or does it adopt the keyword-heavy approach of online porn, segmenting desire along ethnic search terms? This is a good, in fact, let me post this in the chat if you want to read along, man. This is a good blood clot article, man. Let me just, if you want to read along. Salute to Rick's Mace in the building, man. I always get that mixed up with the £5 super chat, man. I really appreciate the support, bro. Good to have you in the building. He says, big up, Falcon. Big up to you, bro. Good to see you. Good to see you. Appreciate you. Where else are we? Even if outright filtering by ethnicity isn't an option on a dating app, as in the case with Tinder and Bumble, the question of how racial bias creeps into the underlying algorithm remains. A spokesperson for Tinder told Wired, which is the website, it does not collect data regarding users' ethnicity or race. They say race has no role in our algorithm. We show you people that meet your gender, age, location, preferences. But the app is rumored to measure its users in terms of relative attractiveness. So you can see there's that blurry line, right? You know, race, attractiveness. What if you're like that white woman? You just don't like people with big noses, right? So men like me are just nope. By doing this, does it reinforce society-specific ideals of beauty, which remain prone to racial bias? Okay, man, look. I think it's time for the anecdotals. I think it's time for personal experiences. You know, I appreciate everyone in the building. It's 1 hour in. Please hit a like if you're enjoying what you're hearing so far. Again, loads of stuff happening in the space online, but you're here, so I really appreciate that. So salute to everyone in the building. So people in the back, I'm gonna bring them on. Again, if you want to join the panel, if you want to discuss your views about, you know, if you're struggling on the dating apps, why do you think that is? You know, what have been your worst experiences? Perhaps do dating apps bring out the worst black pill truths? Or are those black pill truths just reality? You know, the looks mattering, you know, race and looks, all that sub 5 stuff. Or is the British public just racist and anti-black? Okay, so these are some of the themes that we want to try and discuss. Yeah, feel free to chime in if you want to. I'm going to be reading the super chats and any other messages that I might see. I'm going to pull them out. But let me bring up the gentleman who's in the back in this right now. We got Sharian25. We've also got Diego If in the building. Okay, aka the Boom Podcast. Okay, anyone else who wants to join up? On the panel, just hit the link pinned to the top. 1 second, guys. Let me just do some back house cleaning. But again, let me just big up to Rick's Mace, man. Came through, man. Salute to you. And we got O'Shea Duke Jackson as well in the building. Salute to you all the way from Uganda, man. Good to have you in the live stream, man. Salute to you. And we had number 1. Can I still go up to it? Damn, I can't go back up to it. But we have Ifechi Michael in the building with the first super chat of the night. Okay, so salute to everyone in the building. Okay, let me just kill this elevator music, man, and let's get to the nitty gritty. Okay, Sharian25, man, you're live. How are you doing this evening?
Oh, I'm doing just wonderful, you know. Today I just, had a normal day, but yeah, speaking about the topic of why a lot of Black British men are struggling on Tinder.
One sec. Let me ask from your point of view, because obviously you are a Black Canadian man, right?
Yeah, but
so let me ask from your point of view. Pardon?
I also have a British citizenship too.
You also have British citizenship?
Yeah.
Wow, salute to you. But okay, you're currently in Canada, so let's see your current environment. Like, are you struggling if you use dating apps? Firstly, do you use dating apps?
Nope. never have, because a lot of them can just, dox your personal information and stuff. And that's one thing that I notice with a lot of people nowadays. Like, it's like they'll just do anything to, like, get attention and stuff by using a lot of these dating apps and a lot of this stuff. That's why a lot of people get catfished and stuff. And, it's quite funny because like I always notice that, like, it's mostly about looks. It's not necessarily about race for that matter, but we all know that if you have big wide nose like me, or you or anyone else, that you're obviously automatically going to get rejected easily, and that's just
1 second, let's slow that down. What did you say? So we're gonna easily be rejected as black men on these dating apps? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and that's
why do you say that?
Hmm?
What makes you say that?
Because that's how it is nowadays. People just judge you for what you look like, and not necessarily what you have, but like what's going on and what is in mind. Because I can sense it myself. Like, if you're a white man, you're most desired. You're most like approved, along with Asian and Indian and Hispanic. You're more likely to get like a better acknowledgement from the public, as opposed to black men. But like,
okay, can I ask you this?
Yeah.
Do you know what sub 5 means, right? You know what that means, right?
Say that again.
Sub 5.
Sub 5? No.
It's actually, I don't myself, man. If anyone in the chat knows the full abbreviation, it's basically a black pill ideology that because of your height, your ethnicity, and basically your looks, that just deems how successful you will be in the dating market.
Right.
Do you believe in that? For example, would you say that an Asian man has a disadvantage in the dating market?
No, I don't necessarily believe in the whole black pill philosophy. I know what people be trying to use. They try to be using that Andrew Tate sort of method to describe, if it's like, if you don't have enough money, if you don't have enough status, if you don't have this, then you ain't shit. That's basically what the sub 5 category is, and most people need to start understanding the dilemma. They need to understanding that, if you want to be, taken serious in terms of relationships and stuff, just be yourself, and be someone that can honestly do things without, trying to approach someone in a way that may infuriates them or does anything. Because I know for a fact that, like, people like it's just generally a lot of men that are part of the athletic programs or anything like that. They're more likely to get chosen for date, as opposed to a smart black man that's in areas of expertise or politics, or someone that's actually trying to build or do something for themselves.
Okay. Yeah. You've had a relationship before, have you?
Like relationships with people? Yeah, of course I do.
Yeah, with a woman, with people, man.
No, I never had a relationship. I never actually had a girlfriend ever before.
Do you think part of that is down to how you're perceived on the dating apps, like Tinder and stuff?
I never used one myself. I can't speak for others. Like, people just think it's funny, but like, I personally would never use one myself. I just think that stuff. I see Jesse though. He says my man needs to run. Don't
worry on the chat. The chat's gonna be the chat.
No. I'm telling you, like, all it does is just create a big, thing. But I myself, like, I never was like called Mr. Lakaya. And who the hell is this open?
Okay, listen, look, Shah, man, don't let the chat trigger you, man. Don't worry about the chat, okay? But let me quickly read out this super chat though by Blaze, man. Salute to Blaze with the $5 super chat, man. I really appreciate that. He says salute at Falcon Blizzak. Hashtag Idi Amin Dada 2023. What are you saying, Blaze, man? Idi Amin Dada. Stay in the chat, sure. Oof. Sure, you got some enemies. Why do you have some enemies, sure?
On this chart?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe because there's some, like troll accounts, and you see a lot of idiots nowadays, on like who shouldn't even be on like social media and who shouldn't even be saying.
Okay, I hear that. I hear that.
And
I hear that. One sec. But salute to you, Blaze. I really appreciate your support as always, man. You're always showing love, always showing support, so appreciate that. Good to see you in the building. Please, guys, easy on the jokes, man. Easy on the jokes, okay? If you want to speak your piece, come up. The links are in the chat. Links are in the description. But let's not joke around and play too much. You know how it is. Let's keep it real. I think Diego is away. I don't know if he's back.
No, I'm back.
One sec. Sharian, I appreciate the opener. We're going to come back as we usually do, okay, into conversational part 2, okay? But we got Diego in the building, man. How you doing this evening, bro?
Yo, yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good.
Yeah,
my
good
draft
to
is
have
done.
you, man.
Yeah. How you doing, man?
Yeah, I can't complain.
Cool. All right, man. Nice. Wait, can you hear me? Because you've gone a bit quiet. Hello? Can everyone hear me? Because press the 1 if you can hear me. Press the 2 if you can hear Falcon.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can.
Oh, damn, man. Hey, sorry about this, man. Something about my router. I don't know if it's been upside, but I'm on that Nigeria Wi-Fi, so let me try. Yeah, something flashing, but hey, apologies for that.
All right, cool. Yeah, man, interesting topic. A lot of things come to mind, to be honest. So, okay, I think he's gone. Yo, guys in the chat, let me know if I should continue or if I should wait for Falcon.
Yeah, you should just continue.
Sorry, guys, Nigeria
Okay.
Wi-Fi, but I think I'm fixing that one. It's just a loose plug.
Cool, man.
But Diego,
Yeah.
man, just to break you in, like, why do you, if it's the truth, why do you think Black British men are struggling on dating apps in the UK? Just off the top.
So, the thing is, different dating apps have different experiences based on what I have experienced and based on what I've heard from others. I'd say Tinder, maybe going back, 2023. So going back maybe to like 2014, 15, 13 times. From what I know, black men had better outcomes. But obviously what's happened now is it's full of bots and, women that are kind of soliciting, basically women on the game, right? Trying to solicit, pay for play. So that's what's happened to that app. It's kind of gone down the toilet. I mean, that's if it wasn't already there. What I would say is, I think those stats or those, the insights you gave about the surveys conducted may shed light on it. I think that they don't necessarily mimic the real world settings. I think if I'm being honest, there's a few things that come to mind. So,
and yeah, that's going to always be the thing with stats, right? People can be, talking out of their ass. People, can say all sorts of things. So it's not necessarily always going to be the truth. There's always going to be some nuance that we need to be aware of.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I think dating is just one of those things that you can't, it's hard to get the truth. It's such an emotional event as well.
Yeah. I would say as well that I think some of, you said it yourself. I think some of those results may be contrived. This is just what I think
can't say beyond reasonable doubt, but I think they might be contrived. I think some people's, at least what they've stated or reported as their preferences and what really are their preferences vary. So, for example, what are the objectives for different people going on apps? Some of the people that go on apps, they might not necessarily want to have a relationship with a black man because of, maybe what their family or friends would think, or just the fear of the unknown, but they would not mind knocking the boots. So the the questions in terms of how they're answered, there are women who do want to meet Prince Charming and yada 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 yada, but they'll pretty much settle for some tampering. So I don't know if those stats really shed light on what these people want, their racial preferences, if you will, based on the outcomes. The other thing is, you may, for example, conversely, you may have like a black woman, for example, who may ideally want to settle down with a black man, but based on maybe swell, divest rhetoric and other stuff, romanticization of white men, she may want to sample some, DTF with a white guy. So she might not be swiping or be responsive depending on what app it is, because not that she may not find a black man attractive, but she got tunnel vision, wants that white guy. So this is the thing, that therein lies the flaws, because it's not able to really shed light. I mean, typically it's more like closed-ended answers, right? People aren't able to give qualitative where they can expand and all that other stuff. So I think that it should be taken with a pinch of salt, those results. I would say that black men probably, in my experience, Hinge tends to be the most, shall I say, fruitful app for them. Yeah, I'd say so. Because if you come across as like maybe a bit quirky, or you seem like you have a sense of humor, and you're not like hideous to look at, which I say most guys aren't, then you can get your foot in the door, I would say as well, I mean, you made reference to it earlier, that not all the options that are available are what the men may want, so there's that as well. So it may not even be a lack of options, it may just be a case of not so much quality but greater quantity, so yeah, I think these are all different things that play into, these outcomes. Yeah, one may say, "Oh yeah, guy, you should have, refinement, be the best you can, portray yourself in all these ways, and yada 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 yada." But what people fail to acknowledge when they push that narrative, which is not necessarily entirely wrong, is that the women in question may be socially inept or socially challenged or lack soft skills. So is the onus on the man, for example, on these apps to come across as the one that has more the charisma, more engaging, more entertaining, or is it balanced, evenly balanced? Or am I making sense? Because it shouldn't. I mean, at the end of the day, if the guy has a personality, and I feel obviously everyone has a personality, but if the guy has an outgoing, forthcoming kind of personality, what if the woman can't pick up on it because she's quite simple-minded?
Do you mean through a dating app? Because obviously that's going to be one of
dating apps. So
I mean, that's the thing with these apps, is because everything that makes up a person, a man, you can't really feel it, you can't sense it. There's all these other things that go into a successful date, for example, right? That words and a description and pictures can't bring up.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I think guys really need to take these apps with a pinch of salt. They are contrived. Men, I think sometimes, obviously, when you're in the zone, real time, you're swiping, blah, 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 whether it's left or right or X or tick or whatever options the app may present. People aren't taking into account that these apps are tilted for women. So a good-looking man, by virtue of the app, is statistically less likely to have options than a woman who might be a strong 4. It's just what it is. They're tilted for that. So men should never get it twisted. If they created the apps in such a way that it was for men, right? the men will be getting different outcomes, especially if they're looking to just run through women, something casual. I don't know. They'll probably be having better outcomes. But the apps are definitely, and what has happened, and I hate to say this, in addition to obviously first traps and men being super thirsty on, different social media platforms, I think that because the apps are, you know, basically, they're built to give women an advantage. A lot of women have an overinflated sense of self because there are some men who may not be desirable for whatever reasons, may now be like, oh yeah, I want you, I want to do all kinds of things to you, blah, 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 blah. Do you understand what I'm saying? I don't think it really helps either party, to be honest. As you said, it can be one of those ones where you get on with somebody and then tomorrow, boom, that person disappears. That person, it might be that person liked the guy, but she may have issues. And so she feels like she's too outside of her comfort zone. So a guy hearing that might actually feel a bit better about himself and not take it personally. But of course, he doesn't get that, in quote, closure, if you will. So I honestly don't know if I can say that the challenges that dating apps may pose to Black British men are entirely different to any other demographic. I just think it's somewhat nuanced,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Diego, great opener as always. Salute to Diego. Okay, so yeah, anyone can jump in. It's the second round with more conversational round. But okay, going off of what Diego said, and Shah, you can answer this if you want. Like, in my opinion, or from my experience, a lot of Black men usually say that it's hard to use the dating apps. They're not getting the women that they feel like they deserve. Right? So in your opinion, is this true or false? And if it's false, why would these men have such complaints? Or are they hiding other aspects that they might not be successful at? For example, maybe they're not that interesting. Maybe they are not that attractive.
It's not even about attraction or looks. It's just that, like, there's always been that hierarchy. If you're like someone that has that athlete or celebrity status, you're always ranked as number one, in terms of the dating market, as a Black man, or a content creator. Even if that goes for any YouTuber, like, for example, O'Shea Duke Jackson, he's not that, good looking, but look at
Hey. Why are you saying that? Are you trolling? I don't understand. Why would you deem another man unattractive?
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But what I was saying is that, like, it's not about looks. It's just that a lot of these dating apps that you see, like Tinder, Bumble, what's it called, OK Cupid, and a lot of them, they're just fake. Like that's one thing that I have to say, like, not a lot of people quite understand what it can do and what it enlightens. Me personally, I'm an incel. Like, I see myself as MGTOW Messiah.
Okay, Shah, man, you're going off on one a little bit, so I'm gonna probably have to time you out for a sec because all these buzzwords that you're including in what you're saying, I'm not really feeling. We got someone in the back called Pro Black. I'm gonna need you to turn your camera on in the back, and then I'm gonna bring you up. Because I know there's a lot of you weak ass trolls trying to get on. I need to confirm that you are a real person who's going to be held accountable before I can bring you up. Okay. So for reference, we've got someone in the back with a Goomba face called Pro Black trying to get on. But Shah, I'm going to ask you to, relax a bit and make sure you're aligned. Your mind is, prepared, and you're not playing jokes. Show your face in the back. I don't want to see your fingers. To this Pro Black guy. Okay, nope, you're not coming on. You're kicked. Cool. Yeah, Diego, the same question to you. Do you think, okay, with the Black guys that complain, like few people in the chat are saying that, yeah, it's hard for Black men on the dating apps. So what is the problem then? Do you think that it's not really true or are they just not applying themselves, or maybe they do have a distinct disadvantage for some reason?
To be honest, it would be. I mean, before I kind of, maybe consider the reasons why, it'll be interesting to know what their experiences have been like. Have they had many matches? Has it gone beyond a "How are you?" "Hey, oh, that looks interesting. Oh, yeah, I can relate." Like, do you understand? Beyond like an icebreaker, how many icebreakers have they had, for instance? Because do you see my point? There's different ways that this can actually transpire. You know.
Hmm.
This is the reason why. And again, as well, I mean, just perhaps for the guys in the chat, what is it that they want from women? Are they just broadly speaking open-minded based on the connection, and they are happy to be adaptable? Is it a thing where you just want to smash and dash? What do you understand? Because that is ultimately going to determine a lot. Like, someone made a good point about white men maybe having first dibs, and then in a sense, the rest of men are like a kind of like,
But
the
hey,
women are, you're gone.
in the UK, though,
Mm.
obviously a traditionally white country, and they are the
Mhm.
majority demographic. Do you not think that is that is a fair kind of
Yeah.
position?
I would say so. I mean, I don't think it's unreasonable. I'm one of these people who believes that people are okay. They're allowed to have their preferences. I've never
Hmm.
felt a way about, oh, women don't like you. Never. I can say that with confidence. It's not like I'm saying, ooh, I've always been self-assured. No, but when it comes down to preferences, I've never lost sleep over that. What I will say is this, right? Black men are expected to be monosyllabic, maybe kind of like sit looking pretty,
Hmm.
do the whole kind of yeah. That's what they're expected to be. So if you have a personality, for example, maybe if you can speak beyond one language, if you're quite versed about aspects of life, you can, let's just take away color, you're an engaging person. A white guy with those characteristics is seen as fine, is seen as attractive, is seen as, ooh, this guy's quirky, this guy's interesting, and you can be romanticized. You understand? But if a black guy has similar-ish character traits, it's problematized. It's like, this guy's acting above his station. What's wrong with him? Why is he not fulfilling a certain kind of stereotype and a fantasy that I'm after? Do you see? So I say that if you do not see yourself as an in quote stereotype or caricature, you're gonna have to. You got to stand in your square. You, because the reality is, if like I said, if you don't see yourself as stereotypical, you have those things that you somewhat are self-aware, those traits, but you don't get validated, and then continue, like, let's say, one woman after another, after another, after another does not validate that. That will be discouraging. It's not that
Hmm.
you're necessarily thirsting for the validation, but where there is none, it's natural to ask yourself, what's wrong with me? But the reality is, this is a contrived setting. And depending on where you'd go, like, I don't know. For example, I think I might have said this on a previous stream. I think I have, actually. If you are an intelligent black man, for example, who may be into academia or whatever, the different cafes and stuff dotted around, like, say, University of London, you'd find it far easier to basically bump heads or cross paths with a woman who, you understand, may be more compatible
Hmm.
mentally and in looks than you would on an app.
Hmm.
So do you see, this is the reality. But yeah, I honestly, I contend that um, you know a white guy in general, as much as definitely the demographics, I mean, it makes sense if you just look at it at face value. I think that the personality types, broadly speaking, as long as the man has a kind of I don't care kind of blasé attitude, like, look, you like me, you don't shift out the way another one. As long as you have that kind of like almost stoic kind of like, oh, if you're down, let's do this. If you're not, get out of the way. Then I think that white guy will do well. So the scrutiny on personality is not as strong as it might be on a black man. That's what I'd say.
Hmm. A great points. We got a new person on the chat, Vernon. I'm just wondering, what is your point of view when it comes to this topic? Do you think black men are struggling on dating apps? If so, why is that?
No, I don't think we're struggling. I think
I can't hear you if you're speaking. Vernon, are you there? Okay, let's go back to SHA-25. SHA-25, what were you saying? Just please don't use those buzzwords. We don't, you don't need to call yourself an incel. Okay, Vernon's going to fix the mic.
Okay, what I was trying to reiterate was that,
Mhm.
like, I'm not an insult or anything. I just think that a lot of, like, dudes nowadays take dating and relationships way too serious. Like, they take it to an extreme sense that, like, they try to make it seem as if that's the only thing that matters to them in life, and that's
Mhm.
one thing that, like, they need to glorify in order to, like, be, like, rich or something like that. No, that doesn't matter. Yeah, we need people to work with. We need someone to talk to. We need someone to have friends with. We need someone to communicate with. We need someone to be, enlightened by. But, like, don't take this serious. Like, that's what I'm trying to say. And, when people be saying, "Oh, why are you just doing this?" And then, look, I see Blaze. He says he can't. Can you block Blaze? I don't know who this guy is, but
Sure, I keep telling you, I keep telling you to stay on track and don't worry about what the chat is saying. Let the chat do the chat.
okay.
You're on the panel, okay?
Yeah,
Are you going to promise me to stay on track?
yeah, well, but yeah, so, like, it's not necessarily a Tinder thing, but, like, when men try to take well taken, like, pictures and clothes and background and a written profile, then it may reach the great particular idea. But that's what we need.
Okay, let me ask you a question. I just want to ask you a question. Since you've never ever been in a relationship before, why have you not considered using a dating app?
Why?
Yeah, why not?
You're gonna get the first comment. It's because I'm a clown. Look what that's what they say, and
Sure, man. I've asked if you promise to not look at the chat, but you get triggered by the chat. So, like, again, if you can't maintain focus, you can't be derailing and ruining my live stream. Okay. Vernon, are you back in?
Yeah, hello. Do you hear? Do you listen to me?
Can you be a bit louder, please?
Do you hear me now?
Let me ask the chat. Chat, and Diego, can you hear Vernon? It could be just me.
It sounds a bit low, to be honest.
Yeah, you sound a bit low. Please, can you just turn it up a little bit? Maybe come close to the mic.
Oh yeah, sure. Hopefully that's fine.
Okay, this is better.
Okay, way better.
Yeah.
All right. As far as, like, I'll be honest. Like, I'm kind of in the same position as that dude. Except I'm not no incel or anything. But, like, when I first opened up Tinder, I'll be honest. Like, the first people that are like that notice a brother were white women, Asian women, all that stuff. Like, I didn't know. Prior to dating apps and all that, I used to believe the whole, like, okay, well, they're not really into us and all that stuff. But then when I looked at, like, how many people were swiping right at me, I was like, around I think, like, it blocks off at around once you get more than 99 likes or
Mm-hmm.
matches or anything. So, like, I maxed out, like, pretty quickly, and I live in, like, a all white city around Canada. uh,
Mm-hmm.
so, like, if you're like brothers, if you're like a brother in a whole different province other than Ontario, you'll definitely eat here, I'll say.
Can I ask you a quick question, bro? Because they're asking in the chat. Are you using a voice changer? Just to confirm.
The thing is, I was, but then I turned it off, and I wanted to see if I still. Let me see if I could turn it off.
Okay,
I'll
no,
do it.
it's not a problem. I don't mind. I just, just so the chat knows, because they're they're asking the question. So, in your opinion,
Yeah.
like, just to simplify it, are you saying that black men shouldn't really have a problem on the dating apps? I just want to clarify that.
No, they shouldn't. I think I'll be honest. I know people might think I'm delusional, but I think we're being chosen everywhere. Definitely, I'm telling you, if you got your, SHIT together, I'm telling you, you're better than any white man, instantly.
Right.
Mm.
Does anyone agree with that?
I mean, I think he depended on location. He might have a point. I think it may be relative. He kind of spoke to spoke in relation to certain Canadian provinces, and
Right.
like okay, put it like this, just to kind of shed a little bit of light on that. There are some guys, for example, different parts of the Western world or wherever, where they may not be, in quote, the most universally attractive to women. Their personalities may be equally blunt. However, because of where they are, they may have access to what people may call baddies, like loads of them. So the numbers are in their favor. You understand what I'm trying to say? Like, for example, a lot of guys like, they like Nyash. They like bouncing big something, you get. So they may not find as much of that in London. But if they now start going further north to like places, like, I'm just keeping it where you find more Southern African women, right? Your Kettering, your Northampton, Daventry, Coventry, Sheffield, Manchester, this place, that place. All of a sudden, the kind of women that they don't really see here, if they like that kind of thing, not in parts of the Midlands as well. There'll be loads of them. Because straight up, I ain't gonna lie to you, like, I got one relative, right? He's back in Nigeria now. Look, I don't want to be mean, but he's got a pulse. And he cleaned up, man. He's got a pulse. That's as good as he's got a pulse. I'm not the type to height shame. Guy's barely 5'1", but he managed to punch above his weight. Trust me, like I hate to say it, but I've seen certain guys that don't have much self-confidence and they might use the I word to self-describe.
Yeah, and
looking at it, go on.
That's where it leads me to, because I think that the results of dating apps and dating in general within black men, it's kind of polarizing this way. Some men are saying no, it's it's bad for black men, and then we've got other guys that say no, you can actually kill it. So I'm just wondering, is this a result? Again, I've done a stream a few months back. Is this a result of black men having a self-defeated or a self-defeatist mentality? Like, is it just because some people are saying, one sec, Shah, I'll bring you in, one sec, Shah, you got that background noise. But some people are saying in the chat, JBW, which basically stands for just be white, right? This is more black pill rhetoric, where it's basically suggesting that, oh, you just turn up as a white man and you're gonna get all the women, regardless, right? So, I know a lot of people don't like to hear that self-defeatist lingo, but is this not part of it? I think Sean wanted to jump in.
Yeah, it does have to do with a lot of self-defeated mindset that some men have. And I'm not speaking for what others have to think about this, but what I have to say is that, like, why use a dating app when there's a lot of other alternatives out there that people can use? And, a lot of it
Okay, that's a good point. What are the alternatives? What's the alternatives in your opinion?
Another alternative I will say is that, like, just simply try, talking to, like, dating, like, coach or some, like, relationship expert, because they're the ones that have some, great knowledge and insight on this and things of that nature. Not a lot of other people in today's day and age have what it takes, but I think that firmly, if you want to be someone that's great in insight and things, you just have to, like, talk to people more. You have to be more social. You just can't be that one dude being trapped in a room all day and be trying to, like, get girls by, taking selfies and then false identifying. And no, you have to be true to yourself. And that's one thing I learned from, Iron Sheik, some Persian guy. It's like a lot of Persians, like, when it comes to their culture, like, they're very true, like, and things. A lot of Arab men, I'm telling you, a lot of Arab men, when they're very true, and they have some sort of, like, very great modesty within their culture, where they try to, like, gatekeep their woman from a lot of these, like, con artists, a lot of these frauds, and a lot of these criminals. That's one thing I'll say about Arab men.
Okay, fair point. Vernon, I think you wanted to jump in with regards to the self-defeat mentality, because you're someone that says you're quite successful over there in Canada. do you think a self-defeatist mentality plays a role in why some black men find it to be a negative experience when using dating apps?
I think it does, and not to mention that like many black people, especially black men, they don't put themselves out there, right?
Mm.
The first time I actually like tried to pick up, I don't consider myself a pickup artist, but like basically I was exiting my class, right? And what's hold on. Oh, sorry. I was looking at the chat, but basically I was exiting my class. It was the last day of class. After that, so you're the final term in this, and then a girl exited. That was the girl I wanted to talk to like since forever, right? And she was
Mm.
Indian. I used to think Indians were like colorists, they hated brothers, all that stuff. And then like I just asked her, "Can I have your number?" Just simply like that. And then she just looked at me up and down, and then she just gave it to me, right? Just like that. And I'm just saying, like I would say lots of people like brothers, but they just don't put themselves out there. None of most
Mm.
people, yeah, most people are just like, I need the I need a black woman, or I need this. A lot of, contrary to popular belief, a lot of brothers do not explore like that. They want one single thing.
When you say put themselves out there, what exactly do you mean? Do you mean being more outgoing or being more expressive, being more interesting?
I would say they're trying to fit like one single aesthetic. They're all trying to act like one thing, and they're not trying to act like their authentic selves.
So you mean they're trying to be a stereotype? They're trying
Yes,
to.
yes, exactly. So they think that's gonna attract, but like I'm telling you right now, there's a market for the nerdy black men or the geeks or there's something right there. And
Mm.
that would actually give you more character. Many people are gonna look at you and like, oh well, you're different. Like I remember I was the first guy in these anime conventions. I was approached everywhere, right? Just out of just
Mm.
a friendship thing, not out of anything other than that. But it's a good start. I think if many black men decide to just play their position, I think we'll
Mhm.
eat definitely.
Good strong points, man. Good strong points. Big T in the back. If you can just cam up for a sec while you're in private, then I can bring you on. I've got a new person in the building, Emmanuel. Emmanuel, what do you think? Okay,
What's
thanks,
up,
Big
man?
T. I'm gonna bring you up in a sec. How are you? You all right?
I'm good, man. How y'all doing?
Yeah, we
Um,
good, man. We're good. So, you jumped in on the question: are black men, do we suffer with a self-defeatist mentality when it comes to dating, and does that echo into the experiences felt on the dating apps? Like, what's your opinion?
I mean, I can't speak for all black men, but I can speak for myself.
Yeah, 'cause I know
What
you've
I
been vocal in the chat, so yeah, it'll be good to hear.
yeah, what I can say is definitely all about confidence. You as a person. I think girls see that, and like if girls see that you're a confident person, and like again, people could get confidence by doing different things. Me personally, I like work out, and like that's really how I got most of my confidence. And like there's people that I known from my life, they were funny, athlete. I mean, I also play sport, but like it's different because like you need to be the star person. But like regardless, it's like it's all about you as a person. Like what are you good at, and like how can you make that make girls see that you're good at that thing. And like I feel like working out is the best thing for everyone because again, it helps you build character. It means that you could do something, you could follow through, and then that spreads around everything else in your life. So for real, I think that's really what the problem is. So whoever is like struggling out here, because I heard someone say he's an incel or something like that, like yo, get outside, start working out, and bro, your life is gonna change. That's it.
Yeah, I hear that. Apologies, man. I had to
Yeah,
jump
yeah.
out for a sec.
What I want to say in regards to what Emmanuel said, yeah, he's totally correct. Like it's not good to be an incel, because a lot of men nowadays do suffer from, stuff. It's actually a statistic that men most be like people that are not in a relationship or are not engaged in
Hmm.
one are usually males, and it's predominantly black men, and not a lot of things get recognized,
Right.
but like some of us just try to like avoid what the tyranny and stuff and the
The
things like
tyranny. What?
a tyranny, like basically, the drama that and beefs that happen online. Because,
Okay, cool. Okay. One sec. I want to
I
ask a
mean, my
question
thing
though.
is,
I want to ask
that
a question, Emmanuel, to you because we're particularly talking about dating apps, right? And you
okay.
mentioned working out. right?
Yeah.
And it's like, does that really truly correlate? You know, your physique. Can you
No,
really?
no,
How can you showcase that in your profile, for example, to
but
kind
like,
of maximize?
okay, yeah, sure. All right, I'm going to answer. What I'm trying to say is like, once you start to work out, like I feel like these guys in dating apps, even if they do get the matches, they still don't know how to talk. It's a confidence thing. Like, are you bold enough to say a certain thing or do a certain thing? Like, and again, girls, once they see that you got muscles, it's the first thing. Like, it's pretty like explanatory. We all know that girls like people that are husky. So if you could get yourself in the gate and then you can start from there and you can still like, again, I'm not sure if you guys all work out here, but majority of people that work out, they have confidence, and like
Hmm.
that's really just how like it really is. I don't know. I don't know if that answered your question or.
Yeah, I mean that's a fair point. That's generally my kind of rule of thumb, generally speaking. But yeah, I mean, you know, a lot of people will extend the conversation and say, "Well, look, man, my looks. You know, I'm not that attractive. The gym won't affect my looks." But yeah, I hear what you're saying about the confidence, and that's kind of typically what I want to preach. So I hear that. I just want to quickly go to Big T because he came through as well on this question of do black men have a self defeatist mentality when it comes to dating and dating apps? Do you think that's true or false?
Yeah, hi Frank, thanks for having me on.
Hey, yeah,
Yeah, I
salute
do.
to you, man. Good to have you.
Yeah, I think self-defeatist mindset. I think so. I think, but I do also agree. I think it is black people especially are struggling. When I
Hmm.
talk about my experience with dating apps, when I go on it, I see lots of black women on there. For example, especially
Hmm.
the ones where you can actually change the like what the preferences compared to
Ethnicity.
like I live in London. Yeah,
Hmm.
exactly. Especially when I go out in London, it's gonna take basically forever to see the amount of black girls I can see on like these dating apps, if that makes sense.
Right.
But I think the problem is down to maybe racial in-group preferences, and what I mean by that
Hmm.
is, let's say your average white guy, average Asian guy, the types of matches you will get, the girls will be more inclined to maybe see you, date you, be in a relationship. Whereas I think with black women, their sights are a bit higher, if that makes sense, even when
Mm.
it comes to guys. So I agree with what most people say on the panel, working out, things like that. But then, yeah, it's about translating it into, it's hard to do it through text. Yeah, you can have pictures, you can have things like that, but it's competitive. It's going to be even more competitive than it would be for your, other counterparts, to say. That's my experience with it. So even with your profile, everything's got to be kind of gassed up. You got to trying to be really confident from the start and trying to be, but yeah, it can be difficult.
But are you then saying, because you said that you're kind of struggling, right? But are you then saying that the bar is kind of too high for black men in a city like London then?
Yeah. Struggle in the
Mm.
sense, well, I can get loads of matches. Matches aren't a
Hmm.
problem for me because I can get loads of matches. I can get loads of even quite a few, meet dates as well. But you meet the girl, they're expecting, you to have not just the looks together, your whole life together as well.
Mm.
And then they want, they want a relationship as well, or whatever it is that they want from you. Um, so it's difficult from that. That's where my struggle is personally. But yeah, I think the bar is higher for black guys in general, across the board for any type of girl on the dating apps. So yeah, that's what I say to that.
Okay, salute to that. We got AO in the back. AO, do you want to come up? Okay, you've turned your camera off, so I believe you want to come up. So salute to that. Um, yeah, AO, since you've come up on this point, okay, you can't talk. Okay, I heard that. I heard that.
Can I ask something real quick?
Yeah, go for it. And I think Vernon wanted to jump in. Go for it.
All right. So about like actually getting the matches, I think your picture qualities, you got to make sure you take the best pictures. The same way girls catfish. I'm not saying you should catfish, but I'm saying you got to put the best pictures possible because that's really what gets you in the gate. And then guess what? If you could hold the conversation, because I'm telling you right now, majority of the girls on dating apps cannot message. that I would say for someone that gets matches, that's my biggest problem. It's like you like you're talking to a brick wall. Until I actually found my like girlfriend, this shit like is hard. It's like you have to carry the whole conversation the whole time. You got to be funny. You got to keep people interested because guess what? The girls have thousands of matches, yo. They're talking to everyone, so they're like, "Oh yeah, this guy's not funny. This guy's not this. He's not that." Except if you know you're like you're like the most good looking guy, you just have to be, you gotta have that extra touch. So the first step is make sure you got the best pictures, and then the second step is like you just gotta know how to keep trying. You gotta learn how to conversate.
When you say best pictures, because look, the one of the stats had they measured cameras to camera phones, and they put like professional cameras as high up there. But are you talking about like studio quality pictures?
I'm not. I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about you got to know how to pose right, the angles. You got to look right. So yeah.
Hey, I don't know. Ayo, what are you showing us, man? Are you showing us your Tinder?
Okay.
Jesus, Ayo, we need to get him. Let's see what he's saying. Ayo, what are you showing us? I know you can't talk, but what are you showing us say it in the chat? Let's see what Ayo wants to show us. Okay, you said it in private chat. Messages. Okay, feel free if you're brave enough to show us. Feel free. We got live Ayo in the building.
Unplugged, yo. Uncensored. Let's go.
Okay, we see that. We see that, bro. But Ayo, someone asked a valid question though, because that's the thing, right? So it's like, how many of them convert to dates? Hey, salute to that, Ayo. I appreciate that. Ayo going in. Appreciate that. Okay, so he's showing us proof. I think Vernon wanted to jump in. Did you want to say something?
Yeah, I wanted to ask, like, for the brothers out there in the UK, like, you guys are a pretty small demographic there. So do you guys also see that desperation or from women to want to perform for brothers?
I think you get extremes, to be honest. I'd say you get extremes. You've got some women that are going to be eternal optimists. I think part of it might be the feedback that they've got from their sisters. When I say fellow sisters, obviously not their relatives, of course, but just black women at large. They find it underwhelming and they want something different. There's the other instance where, time might be ticking. They might be feeling the pressure. And so they go in with like, I wouldn't even call it wild optimism. I'd say maybe naivete to an extent. So I think it depends, to be honest. You got some women that will say they want a relationship, but you catch them I think timing is everything as well. Because again, it depends on what you want. Some women, you might not want to completely commit yourself, but if you get the woman to like you enough, and some of these women doesn't really require too much, you might get what you want. You might have a woman who knows there's no guarantee of any outcome, but she's willing to be flexible. If you want to swing by on a slow Tuesday, she can be that woman for you. If you kind of want something that's kind of like middle ground, gray area, where you maybe have the girlfriend experience without her actually trying to enforce, in theory, exclusivity on you, there's that option. So you get extremes. There's also some women on certain platforms, whether that's on Twitter, wherever it might be, let the imagination run wild. They will say that, oh, these men on these apps, they ain't serious, blah, 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 blah. But the reality is many of them are putting out. Why? Because when it comes down to their day-to-day lives, how many men do they see that they might find remotely attractive? Any men that give them the tingles? The answers are going to be fairly small. And then even the men that might find them attractive, there might be a mutual attraction, are those guys going to be forthcoming in approaching women? Because there are some attractive women, but what happens is that because men think it'll be easier to go with a woman that may be less desirable, but equally smashable, then they may, shall I say, go down in looks. So what that means is that your more attractive women that are at the higher end of average and above may not get that attention. So if you jam them at the right time, you get yourself if I'm going to speak in crude terms, a good deal. So it really depends, to be honest. Timing, it counts for everything when it comes to, and that's the reason why I say, if someone wants to put a certain level of faith in apps, so to speak, by obviously scrolling, performatively, there's some type of hope. Then they've got to look at it as a numbers game. You can't take it personally. You understand? It's a numbers game because you might.
So then, are you suggesting that a lot of the black men that feel like, oh, I'm struggling, are you suggesting that they're not perhaps going the extra mile, or they don't have the, or maybe they're just expecting things too quickly, or putting minimal effort in, or
it depends. Because it's a numbers game. Like, for instance, you might find, I mean, Manuel made a good point. If a woman is dry, our principle, if you ask my opinion, I don't think that a man should put too much pressure on himself to come with some kind of icebreaker from heaven that makes her laugh and kind of like, yay, she now becomes forthcoming. If you got the skills, you got the wit, boom, do whatever, right? But I don't think you should place too much pressure on yourself. I just don't think so. Because I think that does kind of come out. I think it becomes evident. I think, it speaks to a wider point of not being too reliant on dating coaches or pickup artists. It would be far better to basically just go out there, make your mistakes, just chalk and put, charge it to the game, to use an American expression. It'd be better to do that than it would be to, should I say, take the tentative approach. I just think, ultimately speaking, because this comes down to the human condition. The human condition, what's consistent with it, is where people, should I say, want a certain outcome, and they do the opposite of what will actually help them, if that makes any sense. Right. So when you overthink these things, and when you put too much, and it's easier said than done. So I'm not saying this to make anyone to be like, oh yeah, I'm an expert. I'm just putting it out there. If you go for as high quality as you can get, you're probably gonna, get what you understand. You're probably gonna have more luck than going.
I think AO. If you can't speak, you need to type in chat. What you showing us, bro? I'm gonna enlarge you. So let's see what AO is.
Hey.
Okay, he's showing us his pics. Okay, see, look, this is a live example.
Picture. See that? Yo, it looks like he's rich.
Yeah, this is a live example of the pictures of someone who's a success on the dating apps. Again, bros, I'm not on the dating apps.
Oh, my man got Tinder now. Okay.
Jeez. Hey, AO, keeping it 100, man. We appreciate that. I think Big T, you wanted to jump in and say something, right? Because I saw you unmuted. Did you?
Yeah. Yeah. Just kind of echoing what Diego kind of said. Like, I think it is ultimately a numbers game. I think when the girls, I think they try to, it depends on how keen or not keen or what she's trying to do. She obviously try to ask you and try to box you in. Maybe try to find out, even before she tries to meet you, the intentions or, what she's looking for, basically. So that's it, really. I mean, like, and then obviously, AO showed, his matches before. It's like, he can get quite a lot of matches, but then it's lit. Yeah, you need to get a lot of matches to get a few dates, and then a few dates to kind of get somewhere in those few dates. Yeah.
So are we saying that it's kind of like a sales thing where it's like, okay, you get, I don't know, 100 leads, and maybe 10 of those get in, show interest and response, and then maybe one will be a sale. Is it like something like that?
Yeah. It feels like that. Yeah, that's how it's that's how it's kind of gone to. Like, when I first started using like Dana, that's like ages ago and stuff, like, it wasn't really like that. It was just like each match was a connection. But now it's like, yeah, it's not really, you shouldn't really feel confident until, well, you should feel confident at all times, but in terms of like where this could go, you can't get your hopes up until, basically
I want to ask you and everyone else on the panel, during the pandemic, because again, I don't use the apps, I'm keeping it 100, but during the pandemic, was there a different I don't know, culture in like Tinder and Bumble and all of that?
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, definitely. I'd say that the pandemic, just to quickly kind of just give a summary. The
Yeah.
pandemic, what it did was that, the idea, what people are like, if you feel caged, you want to escape. So
Mhm.
there were some women that were more receptive
Mhm.
to getting involved in something because it was that kind of YOLO mindset.
Mhm.
Like if I'm gonna go out, I may as well go out on a high. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So they had that kind of mindset, and so yeah, like look, so it was I guess in a sense it was the thrill of doing what they're not supposed to. So do you remember there was a point where police were out, and it'll be like random, like where you going to, where have you come from? Well,
Right.
the idea of evading that in order to basically clap cheeks and that, it excited a lot of women. So I mean that's based on experience.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
What
I
I would
I,
say
I
to
kind
that
of
is,
have like. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, go for it,
My bad.
Emmanuel. And then we'll come back to Big T and anyone
Okay.
else.
All right. I mean, I don't know. I feel like dating apps, they've always been the same for
Mm.
like the most part. It's the same thing. I would say at least like 70% of the girls on there, it's all about an ego boost. It's not really about do they actually like you, do they want to go out with you.
Mhm.
That's really not
Mhm.
what it is. And it's still like that right now after the pandemic. Like it was still the same thing. You could still get a lot of matches and not really like, get
Right.
any of them
Full of.
actually to come out. So like I don't know. I'm not too sure. I mean, except if you just got it like that. But like, I don't know. It felt like the same to me.
Mhm. Okay, great point. Big T, I think you want to jump in.
yeah, I'll give a slightly different perspective. Like, I
Mhm.
wasn't using dating apps before pandemic. Like, it was actually more one of my mates. He said, hey, you need to go on it because all these girls are on here now. Blah blah blah. So I was like, okay, give it a try. Um,
Mm.
so yeah, I mean, maybe there were some girls who would not usually think about dating apps, but obviously they're kept aside or whatever. Like, kind of what the other guys were saying. I think since after, I think it's even worse. I'd say because um, I kind of stopped using it for a bit, and I thought, okay, I was like, when kind of gyms opened up again, I started,
Right.
speaking to girls there, and
Mhm.
then at some point I went back on dating apps, right? And then some, not all of them, but some of the girls I spoke to in the gym, like met in person, were using dating apps. I was thinking, what's the point of you even trying, doing this in person, I think
Do you
like
mean?
the
Do you
other guy
mean?
said,
Are you
like,
saying? Are you saying that the people you met in person, they can see you on the app? Is that what you meant?
no. So, but I met someone in person in a gym. A few
Mhm.
months later, I was on a dating app and I saw their profile, that the person that
Oh.
I approached in the gym, if that makes
Ah.
sense. So I was like,
Okay.
so I'm thinking, I'm not wasting time. I'm trying to meet people in organically, and they're on dating apps
Right.
anyway.
Right.
So,
Right.
and
Right.
I think since then, people have, I think even more people are on dating apps. I think, and the whole, yeah, people are kind of less inclined to have social interactions outside of it. And like the other guy said,
Mhm.
ego boost. Just to get, if they feel bad, go on the phone.
Right.
Now I've got like 10 million guys trying to get in my DMs or whatever. So I think it's like that, really.
Right. It's almost kind of like free therapy as well. Like to have an instant communication, like access, and to just get validated, feel
Entertainment.
good, entertainment.
They're just bored. I'm
Yeah.
bored. I just downloaded Tinder. I was bored.
Right.
That's it, yo.
Hey. Right. I hear that. I
Yeah,
hear that.
can I
But,
just
hey, yeah. Sure.
can yeah, can I just say, like, when it pertains to dating apps, like, you have to question, is it actually something worth, using? I'm gonna be honest with you. I think that, like, it's not. More men should start sticking to the right, form of media, and that's like, listening to what their parents have to say, or listening to what others have to say
I
pertaining
don't.
to
I don't
dating.
understand the correlation between that. What your parents have to say. I don't understand. What is the better technology or app?
Yeah, I think the better technology is that, like, a lot of these, like, people that be using these dating apps, they just don't get how to approach it. Like, I've tried to use it before. Like I tried.
Wait a second. I thought you said you don't use dating apps.
You know, I don't use dating apps, but I tried to like search a girl that tried using dating apps. But you know, apparently you pay money on Google to play and stuff, and then after that, I'm done.
Whoa.
If I have to pay someone just to go on a date, I'm done. I'm not gonna do that because a lot of these
I hear
dating
that.
apps are so fraudulent and stuff. So, you know, I just stick to what I have to say. You know.
Okay, sure. Let me cut you there because you raise a good point. So I want to use your what you said as a question. Okay, that's a good point.
Mhm.
I know. Let me ask this. Shah makes a good point. You know what I mean? Sometimes Shah, when he veers off, you know, I get some things from him. I get some nuggets. So you know, there's a lot of black guys that say, "Oh, the dating market on the dating apps is bad. It's bad." But could it be because our black guys just not buying the premium services of those apps? Could that be a part of it? Like,
Definitely. Definitely. No, I'll tell you why. It's consistent with what I said about it being a numbers game. If you pay for those, you pay for those apps. So I think someone hearing a bit of feedback.
Okay, let me just mute someone. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
Is that better now?
Yep.
Okay, I can still hear. Okay, fine. Anyway, yeah. The reality is, if it's a numbers game, then the more options you have in terms of being able to swipe unlimited, the more if you swipe left by accident and then you can reverse it, it literally just gives you more options. And I remember there's a trick there's two things I used to do in Tinder back in the day. Let me just put it out there. One, there's an app that you could use to get like the unlimited service for free. That's one. The second one is you could do a trial, end it, repeat, rinse and repeat. So when I did that, I did it as a social experiment. It's not like I struggled to get matches, but I did it and the matches were just flying, boom, 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 boom. So that might be it, to be honest. I know there's a bit of a stigma because I think dating apps have a stigma in general, and then to pay for it is a bit of a oof. And then to the possibility of not getting anything out of it, it's like just people are scared of
you've been played.
Yeah, they're scared of uncertainty. So but yeah, look, I mean I don't think it's a panacea, but it might explain why people have limited options. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, great. Like good answer because there's unfortunately a bad stigma with us black men being cheap, and I'm wondering if that stigma affects our opportunities on these services. Like, does anyone else, for example, anyone else on the panel who uses these apps, do you pay for the premium or you just use the free service? Does anyone pay for the premium Tinder or whatever it could be?
I paid for dating apps in the past. Sorry, I didn't call you.
Yeah, no, go for it, Big T.
Yeah. I paid for it in the past, and yeah, it's definitely like you said, like a numbers game. You get more matches, more like obviously, I think there's probably algorithms involved as well. They probably push profiles that are paying, maybe I don't know, yeah, compared to when it's free, when it's the free ones, it's not, you're not going to get as much. It's definitely big difference I've seen, what I've experienced.
Right. Okay, we're almost reaching our sweet point to end the stream, but I want to ask this final question, man, because we've kind of veered into like dating strategies and stuff, which, I think it's useful for guys who might be, in a problematic area where they want relationships and it just seems to evade them. So I want to ask the panel, do you believe in, online dating coaches, like their strategies, their services? I don't know if they have on dating app services now. Like, do they work for any of you? Because, we veered into strategy, so we might as well go there and see what you're saying.
I think that, it's always good to have some like great influence when it pertains to those that are actually trying to keep you engaged in like actual, relationships. That's why I listen to guys like Coach Corey Wayne and things, because they actually speak from actual experience and stuff. But a lot of these like new guys that you see that be saying, just dial this number and you'll get the lottery. You dial this or you'll be that, and so on and so forth. It's so annoying. Like, not a lot of people understand that, how the way dating apps work. And by the way, like, if you're a young guy, like such as myself or anyone else, you just might as well, stay away. And now I'm starting to
Stay
see.
away from what?
Oh,
What do you mean stay away? Stay away from what?
just a bunch of people, because anytime I'm in a relationship with someone, I always try to see, like,
Wait a second. Wait, bro. You told us that you've never been in a relationship with a person. So, what relationship were you in? What, are you lying? This is the thing, Shah. I don't understand where you move from left to right.
Okay, I never been in a serious relationship with a woman, is what I'm trying to say. But I'm not an incel. But what I'm trying to
if it wasn't a woman, who have you been in a serious relationship with?
Like, close to anyone? Probably my mother and other people.
Okay, bro. So sorry, man. I've had the patience, man. I've had the patience tonight. Shah, tonight you're on another one. So we're gonna have to call it a night with that, bro. Because we're not talking about relationships with the mothers and stuff like that. Shah, bro, man, you're going a bit crazy, man. You're going a bit crazy, bro. But this to the rest of the panel. With the dating coaches, do you think their strategies work? Do you think it's meaningful or not?
I mean, personally, I've never really paid attention to them, but I would imagine that they have some good points. So I would say, just like anything else in life, you could take some of it, but don't take all of it. And what I mean by that is you could take the stuff that looks good, or you just need to go try it out. You need to practice, I think practice makes perfect, and that's just how it is in life. You need to get rejected a lot. You need to build that confidence up by getting rejected, and that's what these people. I'm not sure if they tell them that, but that's really all it is, As you get rejected, you learn how to talk to girls. You learn what to say, what not to say. That's what game is. Just knowing what to say and what not to say and when to say, as well as having the confidence of to actually make it sound right. I don't know if all that makes sense, but it's all just trying, That's it. So I mean, I think they probably have some helpful things, but you got to practice, That's it.
Great input. I hear that. Trial and error. Anyone else wants to jump on that? If dating coaches actually work for you?
Yeah, I on the balance of things, I mean, much like what Manuel said, there may be some things you can take from them, but cost benefit analysis, I don't think they're particularly efficient, to be honest, nor do I think they're particularly effective. I think that their market tends to be people that are just shorn of confidence, so it's almost like they're malleable to any suggestions. And even if they manage to secure a relationship or get some play, they may falsely overestimate what value that PUA actually provided for them. At the end of the day, I ain't gonna knock PUAs. They're out here to make a buck, in by and large. I'd say.
Yes, I feel the same. I can't knock them totally because if someone is getting some confidence or some sort of information from them, then hey, they're doing a service.
Yeah, exactly. But I ultimately don't think it's worth it, because I think sometimes, again, this is the whole thing about humans and part of the human condition. The very source you go to get confidence ultimately is the very source that might actually knock your confidence even lower than where it was. Because in some cases, and in order to make the service attractive, sometimes these pickup artists will play on the sensibilities and shame guys for not being able to execute some form of game. So, it takes practice, makes perfect. So the reality is, if you get my point, if you can't get out of first base, then you're going to go into the negative or into the minus. If you, for whatever reason, I hope you get my point. And some pickup artists also overstate, what they get as well. Fake it till you make it. Because at the end of the day, this is someone that just is portraying a confident, assertive, almost dogmatic veneer. Like they're presenting a certain image, but no one really knows where are the receipts. for example. And the reality is they can't provide any. Nothing which is objectively, what's the word I'm looking for here? Nothing that holds up to objectivity.
Mm-hmm.
You get my point. So anyway, look, I could go on and on, but the sum total of it is I do not think, if anyone cares to hear what I have to say, that they're worth listening to. I think that maybe reading is it Mastery or Seduction by the Art of Seduction or 48 Laws of Power might actually provide, and also trial and error, risk and rejection be far more effective, if I'm being
Right.
honest, and better use of time. But yeah.
Right. Great points. Big T, what do you think about the dating coaches?
Yeah, I think online dating coaches, I would say no, I wouldn't say they're useful because the reason why, a simple thing you can observe, anyone I've never met someone who's good at, attracting girls online and then outside isn't. Someone who's usually good with women with dating apps, they're usually good with women outside, and dating apps are just a supplement. That's just if they're not the girls that maybe they're talking to outside and just not, okay, I'll go on Hinge for quick or whatever. So I would even go further and say that dating apps in general isn't really a strategy, wouldn't be good for a primary strategy. So if you're just thinking, okay, I want to meet more women, I wouldn't think dating apps is the place to go because, like I said from before, I never met anyone who's not good at attracting women outside. Is a complete thing. And
okay, but what if you're an introverted homebody? You probably don't have no friends like a lot of us. You probably don't have many hobbies. So it's like your motivation to go outside and to do events is probably narrowed down. Because probably you're self-conscious for going to places by yourself. Like a person like that, shouldn't dating apps be a prime strategy for him?
Well, it would have to probably you have no choice at that point. But I'm saying that that's not really an option if you want to be successful. I think anyone can have a hobby, and then wherever that is, whether it's gym, whether it's making pottery, whether it's poetry, whether it's whatever it is, you can go there. You can meet someone with interests, and I think that's probably the best way to go.
Right, man. Great points from everyone, man. Great points. But hey, guys, we're at that point we have to close the stream. So I'm gonna go around asking for closing thoughts. But hey, great conversation, man. I really appreciate all the newcomers that came up on the panel as well. Appreciate AO as well with the giving us the live demonstration. So yeah, good productive conversations tonight. But let's go with closing thoughts. Anyone wants to go first, just to tie a bow to this topic about black British men or black men in general who might be struggling on dating apps? What are your closing thoughts? Anyone can go first.
No one wants to go first. I'll go. I'll go first.
Okay, appreciate it.
Yeah, it's kind of what I just said. Really, that's kind of my closing thoughts. I think as a sole strategy I wouldn't say is a good idea. I think the best way is to meet people outside organically through a hobby. I would say even I would cold approach isn't really. That's something I've done. I've tried it. Varying success, but yeah, I think the best place is to go to a place where it's where you can have mutual interest with the people that are there. And yeah, I think we struggle, black guys struggle is maybe because of what I said before. This bar may be a little bit higher, but again, it's about the pictures, it's about what you post, the messaging. You got to be confident from the start. So yeah, that's it really.
Hey, Big T, it was good having you on, man. I appreciate your input. Feel free to come on any time as well, man. Good to have you. Peace.
Yeah. See.
Okay, I think Emmanuel just dropped off, but I appreciate you, Emmanuel, for your points of view as well. So salute to you. But last but not least, we've got Diego Ife. If you want to end off with closing thoughts.
Yeah, sure, man. I'd say it's a good topic. I weren't expecting it entirely, but again, I think it was good. I think it was even better than I thought I'd anticipate. I think the panel was good in terms of giving maybe some different insights and so on and so forth. I'd say to guys to just remember it's a numbers game. At the end of the day, if it should be a supplement as well. I think maybe any frustration is because there's too much faith and an inordinate amount of faith that's placed on, hopeful outcomes.
Right.
And it's almost like the easy way out. The more you stay in your comfort zone in general in life that I found anyway, the less likely you're going to get anything which is remotely worth having. So you just got to get out there, build thicker skin, you know, whether, getting in the gym, whatever it takes. And I think also that when it comes down to refining yourself or becoming more attractive to women, I think it should be subsumed within like a greater, I want to better myself in general. I don't think one should lead with that. I think that, even if one has a hobby, deepen yourself, become more immersed in that hobby or find something else. But one thing I'll say to any brothers out there, it's not worth letting women, or at least your perception of appeal to women, affect your confidence. Easier said than done, but men are better than that. And they need to recognize their worth. And the key part of that is just moderating expectation from these acts.
Right. Strong point. Hey, Diego, it's a pleasure as always having you on. Salute to you. Feel free to drop your at any point, man. Drop your link to your channel. Diego Ife is also a content creator. So check out his channel too. So salute to Diego Ife.
Thanks, bro. Thanks, man.
No problem. Take it easy. Till next time.
You too.
Yeah, peace. Okay, guys, appreciate everyone who came through, everyone who came up on the panel, especially the new guys as well. Good to hear your new thoughts. Everyone who super chatted, I really appreciate you for showing support, showing love to the stream, to the community as well. For more information, check out Self Refinement City, pinned to the description below. Everyone who super chatted tonight, going to be in the first comment below this video as well. Everyone who came through in the chat box and everyone who endured my technical difficulties, I appreciate it. Salute to everyone who came up. A special thanks again to AO for giving us a live demonstration too. Man, salute to that. But hey, I'm going to have a few more videos this week. I'm going to update you with a few more things. But yeah, good topic. I hope I hope we've all learned something from it. But yeah, again, next Tuesday, same time-ish, 9:30 from, another live stream. Again, a few videos will be popping up this week, so look out for that. But for now, I'm going to bid you farewell. It's your boy, Falcon Blizzak, out. Peace.